Hello and welcome, everyone. Welcome to episode 11 of DevChatter. So, hey, glad to see you all here. Saw a bunch of people talking in the chat already. Doing a little bit of trolling. Love all the kappas. So, awesome. Welcome, everybody. Hi. Hype, and all that stuff. We can absolutely start the stream off with a little bit of hype. Nice. Crimson Green coming in with the quick resub announcement there. 7 months. 7-year 11 yeah, see, you got the 11 party. Welcome, everybody. Will Bennett, I'm not that late today. I think a couple of minutes at most. But welcome, everybody. Glad to see you're all here. We're going to be doing a little bit of coding today, and I'm hoping you will all be interested in following along with the stream today. If you're at work or something like that, you can't, totally cool. If you're around doing other stuff, that's fine too. You don't actually have to do the kata, but we welcome you to if you want to try a kata on Tuesday. Here is the plan for today. I have pulled up a repository here that has the starting point for a kata. So, if you've ever done a refactoring kata or something like that, it follows along those lines where you're going to have a starting set of sample code. In this case, we're going to start with the builder test sample that Steve Smith wrote. Some of you may know Steve under the name of Ardalis, because Steve Smith's kind of a generic name, so it's good to have an online alias to distinguish yourself from all of the other Steve Smiths. Anyway, we like Ardalis here. He's been a guest on the stream, and I think that this is a good way of teaching the data builder pattern. So if you haven't seen the data builder pattern before, then I think you're in for a treat. You have probably used some patterns very similar to this, and so that's why I like to point it out. This is going to feel a lot like some other code you've probably written before. So that's why I think this is going to be a fun one, and I think you'll be able to get a lot of value out of this in your testing, as it does tend to clean things up. Obviously, disclaimer at the beginning, none of these things are ever silver bullets, so they're just more tools to add to your tool belt, which hopefully can make you write better code in the future and make your job a little bit easier. And yes, Wheatlaw's a super common name. You hear that everywhere, so I can understand why, lots of people confuse which Wheatlaw you are. Anyway, so welcome, everybody. This channel is, if you didn't figure that out, based on the URL you're in, the banner at the top, the stuff on the bottom, and all the other things around probably, is named DevChatter, so welcome. DevChatter is a community, all of us, hence why we're inviting you all to code along with us and do this kata as we do it here on the stream. I have not even forked this repository yet, but I will be forking it here in a moment, because I wanted to make sure I showed that in case there's anybody on the stream that's never done that before. Other things, if you are new here, my name is Brendan, and on the internet I go under the name Brendonius, and let's see, we stream 4 times a week here on the channel, do a variety of things, some beginner episodes, some intermediate episodes, and sometimes we're just digging into existing projects. We try not to go too advanced because that leaves too many people behind. So we'll discuss advanced topics, but we don't tend to do entire streams on really advanced topics. Things you might be interested in, I posted a link to our Discord there in the chat, so if you do want to chat with any of us, that's a great place to do it. All the source code for the stuff we do here on the stream, we push that out to GitHub at github.com/devchatter. I guess I'll hit other buttons later. So welcome. We're going to go ahead and get started here in a second. Let me see what's going on in chat. DevCK, doing schoolwork and watching the stream is perfectly fine. Hopefully it's coding homework. And, yeah. Sounds good. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning. DevCK, I've got it somewhere on my computer. But I can't remember off the top of my head what the name of it is. So, I can potentially look it up. Are you on the... I forget if you're on the Discord. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started. We're not going to use this project. This is our chat bot that's running. Okay, send me a message in there to remind me to get you that font info. Okay, so let's see. We don't want that. We want to come over here into this project, and we want to click this little fork button. So step 1, fork this repository. We're going to send it on over to the DevChatter project. You might not get that prompt that I did because I'm in a number of organizations. If you're just, then that's where it'll end up. So this forks it over into DevChatter. So we have DevChatter builder test sample. Now, I want to check this project out so we can work on it. So, let's go ahead and we clone repository from GitHub. And what is it? Builder? Builder test sample right there. On-stream builder test sample. Perfect. That's exactly the name we wanted. And that'll go ahead and clone. So you can do basically the same steps I just did. Obviously, if you're running a different application to clone, maybe you're in the command line, you just clone it however you want to do that. Okay, next step. We are going to open this up in Explorer. And that opened for me in the other window, so I'm just going to open up another Visual Studio here, which will appear right up there. And I'm going to go ahead and drag my solution file right on into Visual Studio, and it will open it up. So there we go. And I will go ahead and give you the advance warning. I have not done Steve's Kata before, so we are finding out this one together. That's why I called it Try a Kata on Tuesday. We really are going to try it. Never done this one. This project, I believe, will run in VS Code if you can't get full Visual Studio to run. I'm fairly certain Steve did a .NET Core project here, which I can confirm very quickly by just clicking on that button right there. And when this opens up, we'll see Net Core App 2.1. So yes, this is a Net Core app, so you can very easily take a look at this in VS Code, and as Wheatlaw mentions DevCK, you could also try Rider, which is the IDE from JetBrains, which should also be able to run it. Okay, let's go ahead and build this project. Wheatlaw, VS Code shouldn't need much setup, it just needs one extension, and that's the C# extension. But yeah, Rider would get you everything you needed, DevCK. It's much lighter weight than Visual Studio. Okay. Let me go ahead and realize I forgot to close a couple of things. Instructions from Steve are right over here. Okay, so Kata instructions. Fork or clone the local, blah blah blah, get it local. Run the tests. Can do. So right-click, run unit tests, and you can use any unit test runner that you've got on your machine, even if all that means is you grab the command line and you just say .NET, test, and that would be fine too. So just as a quick example of that, so you all know what I am talking about, if you go to that folder, which, let me borrow the folder. So you do one of these, you're over here in the folder. I can say, first off, you run the .NET command, that'll confirm you have it. But then all you have to do is you can say .NET test, and it should automatically run my tests and come back with a result telling me that all the tests pass. Yes, ooh, sorry, Wheatlaw, yep, you're right, and I meant to do this. We're going to post the link, and then I am going to say, what is this, command add kata No. So there's the kata we're doing today. Let's see, command. Is that working? No. Okay. I won't worry about it then. Still have to fix that. Anyway. And ThinkBot Labs, good afternoon. Okay, so back to those instructions that we were reading. So we ran the tests, we have one test, it passes, cool. So that means everything's configured right, and this is working. Next thing we need to do, come down here, we run the tests, the included test should pass. We want to open up the order service. So I know this is supposed, I sort of read through this briefly, and it sounded like Steve had set up a basic set of classes and some incomplete code, and what we are supposed to do is complete the code and write the tests all at once. And we're going to follow the data builder pattern to do it. So we open that up, read through the to-do comments. Each one represents a new piece of functionality to be added and tested. Write a test in this class right here for each new to-do item. Be sure to use a builder to create the order and its associated customer and address. Verify the tests fail when you first run since you haven't implemented the code. Then add the code. Once see the test passed, you should remove the to-do comment and optionally commit your code to a local repository. Okay, so basically, Steve is pointing out another thing, which we've shown here on the stream before, which is that there is a task list. Where is that? View task list. So if we pull this up, something that's built into Visual Studio that you all may not know about is that anytime you make a comment with to do, so notice this has even been highlighted a different color. The highlight here is actually done by ReSharper, which is one of my extensions. But Visual Studio itself will also add all to do comments into this list as task items to do. So if you need to keep track of something you need to do, you can actually check the task list to make sure you've gotten rid of all your to-dos. Okay, so Steve says make sure that we add tests to that class, which was called order service place order, just right here. So he wants us to add tests in here. In our place order method, place order is our public method on order service. Okay. To do order ID should be order ID must be 0. Well, that's weird. So that's the test that we've got right now. We did order builder with test values .id and build. So this, by the way, just to explain, is how to explain it. This is the data builder pattern. So it's really simple how you create it, and it works nicely for this kind of thing because we can see, okay, he's building an order that has an ID of 23 and some test values that we're not worried about overriding. So the one he cares about is this value, and this gets a default set so that at least we know the order's filled in enough. A lot of times in a test, what you'll end up with is you'll have something like new order, and then when you're building it, you'll have like, oh, I need to set the customer equal to a new customer, and then I need to set this, and there's all these values you have to fill in, and the data builder pattern is designed to make it so you don't have to do that. So let's see. Validate customer. So first thing it does is validate the order, which is this one. Then it validates the customer, and then it validates the address. Okay. Since it goes all the way through, looks like so it seems like invalid address exception is what he wants us to throw if any of the address details are missing. So we can build this validation in here. Now obviously if you were doing this inside of Entity Framework, you're using the model types that you're used to, then you might not have your validation at this point. Now, you still want to have it server-side, not just client-side, but that's sort of the idea there. And Will Bennett, yes, that's what I was pointing out. Some people may have seen this one before, and they haven't necessarily used it as the data builder pattern. So this style of coding is done a lot. It's really nice. What is your thought on the implementation of the builder? Giving away references of its internal object? So Wheatlaw, this builder is being used, giving away references of its internal object. Is it? I didn't look at his builder here. Private order. That's a setter. That's a setter. This returns back the internal object that it created. Doesn't look super crazy to me, and also keep in mind this is used for testing. So this is not inside of the rest of our code, this is inside the test, which obviously for a non-Kata you'd assume that these folder levels here might be even class library project level differences. And yes, Wheatlaw, you could change it so that you could make it so you could get more use out of the builder. That's a design implementation. You could go either way. So if you're planning on using the same builder multiple times, you could request different orders that way. But I think in this case, Steve's plan is to create a new builder for each one of the tests, I think is how he set it up. No, he created it once, which I guess just means you need to reset the values, which I believe is what this does. But yeah, you can always change the structure of this. The pattern does not define the exact implementation. Okay, anyway, let's take a look at this. So validate order. Order ID should be 0, it's a new order. I think this to-do is done, isn't it? I think that order's done. I want to make it on to answer your question, it's going to depend on whether you want the quiz to be all that secure or whether it matters. If it doesn't matter whether people can cheat on the quiz, then JavaScript is fine. If it does, you'll want to use a server-side language like PHP, ASP.NET, and C# or something like that. You could do it with Java, it's Node, there are plenty of options. But JavaScript's going to be used on your front end either way. Okay, so order has a customer. We don't need to check that. Validate order. Order amount is greater than 0. And Wheelspin, thank you for coming in with that tier 1 sub there. Much appreciated. Node.js. It's still JavaScript, but it is slightly different because we are pointing out that it's server-side there, Wheatlaw, and I don't think that. I think that was the distinction in the question there. Yeah. Welcome, Wheelspin. Glad to see you here again. Glad to hear it, Feedy. Fetty. And I apologize for butchering your name. Names are hard on the internet. Okay, so, step 1. Order amount is greater than 0. Let's go ahead and do that test. So, step 1. Copy previous test. Step 2. Paste test. Throws exception given order amount less than... throws exception given order amount of 0. I'm going to change Steve's naming convention. I like that. Throws exception given order with existing ID, given order amount of 0. So this one, we're going to get rid of the ID. First things first, I want to see this test fail right here. Yes, Crimson Green, we copied some pasta. Oh, okay. Fatty, got it. Alright, so the test failed. Good, because we did not actually put in a thing that should cause it to fail yet. So, we want to say order amount 0. So I have now attempted to use a method that does not exist. Well, obviously, my test, we could say is failing. It's not failing yet, but that's really just because we haven't implemented the code. And I know you guys can't really see the tests because they're behind my head, but don't worry. they're just going to be red or green anyway. So when we add this, notice the testing tools that I'm using can't figure out the type of the object that I want to return, so it didn't figure that out here. So that's why that method is listed as void there. What I want to do is I want to say order builder int, nope, it's probably a decimal, you know, because that's money. So we're going to call that amount. And down here I want to say underscore order. Is it called total amount? I guess it must be total amount equals amount. And I don't know the code super well yet. I didn't look through, you guys have been here, I didn't look through this code, and that's what's neat about this pattern is, well, I should say just TDD in general, is I can start adding to the code without having a complete understanding of how everything works. I just try it. Okay, so this is the pattern right here. I've just written it, this is what it is. So all we did is we said when you call order amount, alter the data of the internal object, this order object, set the total amount equal to amount, and then return this. So this is our order builder. So essentially what we're doing is we're saying when you call me, return itself back. And what that lets us do, just to show you, is it lets us chain these commands. So this is what the code actually looks like. We're saying with test values dot order amount, and because order amount returns back the same order builder right here, we can then just call build on it. And all build does is just return us back our object. Now if we wanted to go the route that Wheatlaw was talking about, where you could reuse this, all we would have to do is return back this order and set it to a new one, and then we could get away with that. But for our test case, that really shouldn't matter too much. If we run into a problem with it, we can adjust it. It's really easy change. So when we run this, we do not get an exception, which is because we have not written the code that makes this an exceptional case yet. So let's go do that. Over in our order service, I'm going to say, right about here, if order dot total amount is less than or equal to 0, throw new invalid order exception. Wow, IO exception, huh? Invalid order exception. And we're going to say amount must be greater than 0. And yes, we're just going to hard code these in. Remember, this is a kata, so the focus of the kata is on working with and trying out the data builder pattern, not extracting these magic strings right here. So let's go ahead and give this a run. Right there, and green. Perfect. So tests have gone green, which means we get to delete our first to-do comment. Now this one I'm going to delete because I'm pretty sure that's the one Steve already did. So I think he just showed that there so we could see what he was doing. So here's what we've changed. We added to our builder, we added a new test. Apparently I adjusted the spacing on that, which is fine, I probably did. And we did that. So this is wire up validation on order total amount. Okay? Now you could switch to another branch if you wanted to for this, but remember we are just doing a kata, so I'm going to commit directly to master on my forked copy of this code. Let's see. You started on C from scratch, Visual Studio. Thanks to you. Variable length arrays. Oh, wheel spin. You're learning C. That's fun stuff. Not C sharp. Just want to clarify on that. And good luck in the rock, paper, scissors, everybody. Yeah, okay, C. Yes, exactly, original C. In that one, you actually do need to, if you are actually using arrays, you actually need to manage that memory yourself and expand the size of the array when you need to. Wondering what the problem is that you're running into there, Wheelspin. To do, order has a customer. Okay. And yes, I am just going to copy pasta this one now as well. We're not too messy yet. Given order without customer. What did with test values give us? It did not give us a customer. So I am going to have to override that, I think. So here's what we're going to do. Customer. Now the reason I'm forcing a customer on here, when we looked at the test values piece there, it did not get us a customer yet. Now I'm aware of that, but I also know that because we're going to wire it up so that with test values adds a customer, I'm going to need to remove that customer, because we know that by default there will be one. Oh, Retro Bear, I will provide a link to this kata. This is Ardalis's kata right there. So welcome. If anyone wants to follow along, this is the place to go to get a copy of this code. So I'm going to do this. So again, I'm going to say order builder. And the object that we're going to receive is a customer, and we're going to say underscore order customer equals customer, return this. Okay, there we go. Wheatlol, no, we don't have, we haven't wired those up yet, so we don't need the tests on that yet. You do embedded stuff mostly. Thought Visual Studio would be the end-all, be-all ID. Turns out it doesn't like C. So I know a lot of people that use Visual Studio for C++, Wheelspin. I don't know a lot of devs that use Visual Studio for C development. Okay. So now that we've wired that up, this should work. And that's just there because we know we're going to eventually need it. Retro Bear, they just generally don't use it. So, not a lot of C developers use Visual Studio, as far as I know. I do know a lot, as I said, I know a lot of C++ devs that use Visual Studio, but I don't know a lot of C devs that do. They might. Perfect. So that behind me, you'll notice, just turned red. And that is our test failing. And I'm going to yank this up so you guys can see it. So we were expecting to get a null reference. We were expecting to get an invalid order exception. Instead, we got a null reference exception. So let's find out what went wrong, and we will fix it. VS Code might work well for doing C coding. I don't know. I have not tried it. Okay, so place order. Let's see what happens. Validate order. So order has a customer. So let's go ahead and say if order.customer equals null, throw new invalid order exception. Now you might be wondering, someone might be saying, Brendan, why aren't you looking up the null reference exception? To which I say, if we throw an invalid order exception before we get to that null reference exception, we never get to that null reference exception. So I don't have to worry about it. So digging into that will have no bearing on this. So I'm not going to look there. I'm going to say order requires a customer. Okay, so invalid order exception. Order requires a customer. Let's go ahead and try this new test. And if it passes, we'll clear up that comment. There we go. And let's get ourselves a commit. So, let's see. Testing that, I should say validating that orders have customers. I was going to say testing that an order has a customer, but I don't want to use the word testing because then someone might think I meant I'm committing unit tests alone, but I'm not. I'm actually building the full feature here. So validating that orders have customers. Okay. So now that we've done that, I want to see, is there anything that I really, really want to refactor here? Ooh, I might adjust that, actually. Now that I think about it. No. We're just building this. I'm pretty good with that right now. Hey, thanks, Crimson Green. Yeah, much appreciated. Okay. So we got that one. What is next that Steve has for us here? So, interestingly, this was called Order Service Place Order Throws Exception. I want to rename. This is, you know, this might be Steve's Kata, but I'm the one doing it, so I can rename how I like. So, I'm going to say Order Service Place Order should actually, if we do that, we could just say threat. No, I'm good with Steve's name. We'll switch it back. So this is, these are sort of just the validate order tests. I almost want a different class for the other ones, but I'll keep them in line for now. So what I'm feeling right now is that this class is going to start getting long, and I don't want it to keep growing. So we're going to have to figure out how to do that. Binary Logics, what's your question there that you're asking about? Okay. Invalid customer exception right here. So this is when we're going to have to build the customer builder. Throws this given customer without ID. So customer must have an ID. We'll start there. So step 1. Whoops, I renamed the wrong test. Given customer without ID. There we go. Now I'm going to first change the type of exception that we watched for. And now we get into the fun part, which is that we need to build our customer object too. So, before we do that, I need another builder. So, step 1, build a customer, give it an ID. Can a customer not... Wait, what do you... Customer, ID. Oh, ID must be... hang on, must have an ID. Or I miss... So that means an ID of 0. With ID 0. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to create a customer object with ID 0 and pass that in. So again, this is not yet a... wheel spin. Nice. The word was Microsoft. You guys failed to get Microsoft. Well, that guy died then. Sorry. You were not able to save him. The this medieval jury system that we've got going on here. Alright, so tests fail. That turned red. That's totally cool. We expected it to. We have not written that code yet. Okay. First thing, I don't want this here. I want to get a builder. We're doing the builder pattern. So let's make this test pass, and then we'll refactor out that builder pattern for that one. So if customer.id equals 0, throw new invalid customer exception, must have a valid ID. Customer must have a ID greater than 0. There we go. Customer must have an ID greater than 0. So we're going to say customer ID is less than or equal to 0. Okay, makes sense to me. Be honest, I'm not sure who added giraffe. It might have been me, but I don't remember if I did. Whoops. Go over here and run these tests. We're going to find out if this passes. It should. Okay, there we go. Test passes, all is well. Let's go ahead and remove the comment. We're going to commit this change and then implement the builder pattern. Echo Strike, I totally agree. Let me know when you get the pull request in for that change. Appreciate it, Echo Strike. Alright, so there we go. We have validate that customer has ID. Okay. So that change works. The next thing we want to do is we want to actually build our data builder object. So we've already got our order builder here. Let's go ahead and just do one of these. There's a copy. We're going to change this name from order builder to customer builder. And we're going to change some types on this. So customer builder is a customer builder, and it is going to return back the customer builder when you use it. So if any of those survive, that is. Customer object, which actually let's get rid of that. Customer, customer, customer. Rename the internal variable to be underscore customer. There we go. No, don't get those yet. Let's see. We don't need those. This would be all the default values. What are the default values of that, I wonder? Underscore customer. What, random? New random dot next with 0 and 100 and 200. So there we go. We have ourselves. We'll grab a random ID. Shouldn't matter what that value is. Hopefully it'll be a different one each time, which actually let's start at 100 and go to like 20,000. As I said, the value doesn't really matter that much. I don't want to call ID like that. I want to be customer.id equals new random. There we go. Ooh, is that not settable? That may not be settable. Interesting. Private set. What's going on? Well, we don't technically need this just yet. Right, because this one needed to have an initial value. We can't set that from here. I wonder how we're going to get around that one then. That seems wonky. Let's do this then. Connor Wright Kappa, welcome. Thank you for that host. Welcome, everybody. We're just doing a little bit of C# code in here today. Doing a kata that looks at the data builder pattern. Binary logics, I am not just going to, quote, make it public. Good try, though. So here's what we're going to do. That's going to be the ID value. That's fine. I don't care that the value is lost. It was 0. So, with test values, we're going to start off with int passing in the ID, which means we won't need the ID method that we were originally trying to use there. That is just going to have to get set each time when you create one. So, which will do that. Wheatlol, I could accept that I always need to create one like this. So if I create one here, then you can't set the properties and then build is the way to end it. So that's the reason why I structured it this way. Crimson Green pretending to be a bot again. But welcome, Connor Wright and friends. Let's go ahead and do the next one then. So we're going to do this. So this return customer builder, return this. What value are we about to need to set? I can't set ID. I guess I won't do one of these yet. We'll add in that piece in a moment. Okay. So let's do this. Over here, we're going to say customer. We're going to create our customer builder right here. There we go. Underscore customer builder. Down here, we are going to pass in. Now, I understand that I could call that way, except that we're going to want to create these other objects like this, and so I want to have the consistency. So that's why we're going to use the builder, even though for that case, the builder wasn't really necessary. But it'll make these work the same way. Okay, all tests still run. If all tests still run and pass, then we're going to call this good and get ourselves a commit of the customer builder. Which, actually, I just realized I don't want that comment in here. Yes, I'm going to commit with only having changed the comment and not run the tests afterwards. If the comment breaks things, I've got worse problems with my code. Okay. You can create one on build if you save the values. I could, Will Bennett. I could. Yeah, so we'll adjust the setup here, Will. So probably what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the new one that I'm going to save a reference to that one, return it, and build will replace it with a new one each time. So that's awesome, Draco. Really glad to hear it. Adding a customer builder. So there we go, customer builder. Next step. Let's take a look at this code because I want to make our customer builder actually do something. Thanks, Echo Strike. Hopefully being influenced to do good code. Customer dot address. Is home address the only one that we have? Looks like it is. If that equals null, then we're gonna do a thing. Doop. Those exceptions given customer without address. Okay, build order throws invalid customer exception when we get a customer customer. And we're gonna say with test values and address null. So let's create this one. This gets us back a customer builder. The object is going to be an address, probably. Yep, it's called an address. We're going to say underscore customer dot address equals address. Return this. So that's how our builder pattern is going to work. Returning that back each time. I'm going to move this new method we just created up to the top because that's the structure that Steve did, and I want to match that because then all of our code is consistent, at least in that. So now, when I run this, invalid customer exception. Oh, whoops, I need to give a valid test value here. I didn't get my failing test yet. So now I have a failing test. So if I take a look at it, what do we have? Failing test. We expected that exception. No exception was thrown. Okay, cool. Perfect. So now if we take a look at the order service, I can, whoops, if customer dot home address equals null, throw new invalid customer exception. Customer must have an address. Jump back here, run the tests. Okay, test passes. Let's go ahead and nuke the to-do comment, and we will commit this. Then we'll take a look at our builders and fix them up a little bit. So remember, whenever you're going to do your refactoring, make sure you get to that green state first, get everything committed, and then start making changes. Best way to do things. Validate that customers have addresses. Twitchlove, 11D1, yes, this is our 11D1st stream right here. Thank you for the biddies. Wheatlaw, a link to your classic builder structure. Awesome, Wheatlaw. Could be very cool. I'm betting it is very similar to how the builder pattern here works, roughly speaking. A couple of changes, of course, probably. Here's what I want to do. So this green squiggly, by the way, is telling us this can be read-only. This is actually the thing that we're talking about changing so that the order builder can be reused without concern of reusing the same object over and over, which is what we're doing right now. So we're going to make this work a little nicer. Hype, hype, hype! Okay. In our build, I can temporarily save temp equals order. Then I want to say order equals new order. So we're going to blank it back out when you build one, and then essentially you're working on the next one. We'll return the temp one. So we'll call this built order. And welcome and greetings. Crimson Green's really going along with that whole he's a bot thing, it would seem. Okay, so that's a significant change to adjust how this code works so that it builds a new one when you do that. Let's make sure our tests still work before we commit this change. Okay, looks good. We're going to go ahead and commit this. So this is order builder builds new order each time. We're going to do the same thing on our customer builder. So we're going to store this in a variable that we call built customer, and underscore customer equals new customer. Ooh, that is an interesting problem we got right there. Because when we build, it resets it back to 0. So we're going to want to always call test values right there in order for this to work. We'll see how that works. Build customer builder builds new customer each time. Thanks, Crimson Green. Yes, clearly it's the developer's fault. Yes. Wheatlaws. Wheatlaw, I was intending specifically to not copy those properties. Yeah, Rising Phoenix, that is a great example of the same problem. Okay. So, in our order service, the customer. The customer must have a first and a last name. So, let's jump back here. And we're going to say, I don't like how these tests keep going. Given customer without full name. I'm going to tie those together, as that seems like the right thing to do. Name all at once. Sure, Wheatlaw, you're welcome to recommend a test structure. I am planning on breaking them out based on the validation type exception that they throw. But if you've got a different way to do it, then awesome. I would love to hear it. So in our customer builder, instead of blanking out the address, we're going to say first name. I'm guessing customer has first and last name, right? First name, last name, yeah. Given customer without full name. So we're going to go to the customer builder again. And this time, instead of address, we're going to add first name and last name. This is going to be, I'm sure these are strings. First name, yep. First name, there we go. And this one is going to be string last name. Last name and last name. There we go. And each of those return back this. And we take a look at the test. That seems to work. Those are valid values, so the only thing I'm breaking right here is this, and we're expecting invalid customer exception. So that test should fail because we didn't write that yet. Hang on. Is the bot not running? Is that the problem? Bot's running, right? Yeah, bot's running. That test passed. Why did that test pass? Oh, because we didn't set address. Yep, there we go. See? Right down in here. I needed to do this. Home address equals address. First name equals Bob. Last name equals Smith. And that reminds me, over in our order builder, I should do the same thing with its code and add in the customer, just to make sure that can fail for that reason. This is your suggestion. Place order. Order with default values should succeed. Order with non-zero ID should throw exception. Order with zero amount should throw exception. So you're wanting to do lots of little classes. Yeah, that's a lot of little classes. Yeah. Nice, Echo Strike. Okay, so now when I run this, because we fixed that, we should get our exception now. Or I should say we should get our failure, which means not throwing our exception, if that makes sense. So looking at this, our test fails, no exception was thrown, we expected one, so let's go ahead and get this order service right here. So we're gonna say if customer dot first name string dot not equals is null or empty customer, or string dot is null or empty customer dot last name throw new invalid customer exception. Customer must have first and last name. There we go. Let's go run the tests real fast. Actually, I could just click that button. And everything turned green. Let's delete the to-do comment. And we are going to commit this. Validate customer first and last name. Alright, let's go fix up our tests. We are going to change that structure a little bit. Here's what I want to build. I want a slightly different structure, so we're going to call this the folder order service tests. Inside of here, we're going to make order service, place order throws invalid order. That's going to be the name of that. Welcome, Kappenstein. Thanks for that follow. Let's do this. This piece up here. Class base order service tests. Might do this. Not totally set on this part yet. We'll see how it goes. Yet an event crunch or the new VS auto test. Will Bennett, I think I'm only running professional on here. I don't think I'm running enterprise, so I don't think this has the auto test feature on it. And no, I'm not running ncrunch on this computer. So let's jump to this, which is going to be of that type. Did we make these private? They're not going to be private. They're going to be protected. So throws invalid order. Invalid order, invalid order, invalid order. And these ones are invalid customer exceptions. And we'll make it inherit from the same base class once we move it. So I'm going to move this into the folder as well. Okay, yep, move it to the new location. It is going to inherit from the base order service tests. Which should suddenly make it happy as well. Right click on the project, we're going to run all unit tests and we're going to see how that works. There we go. Crimson Green pretending to be a bot still. And by pretending, I mean, of course he's a bot. Splitting tests by exception type. Okay. Let me see what's going on in chat. Wait, congratulations, Twitchlove. What? Oh, did he win rock, paper, scissors? EVS Enterprise for live station. Yeah. How does your set default values of the order builder look? I will show you in a second. There's an extension, forgot the name though, for live user testing. Oh, very nice, Stool Tenor. You want to know what the default values code looks like. I can show you that in the order builder. Right now it looks roughly like this. It just sets those values. It does not create a new object. Although we could make the width be what creates the new object instead of doing it here. We could make the build return you back an object, and until you reset, it does not actually reset the default. So we could do it that way. And maybe we'll change to that. So let's get our default values set up. So we're going to do order. Actually, now that I think about it, I think that's how the customer one works. Yeah, we made new objects, Wheatlaw. So customer equals do we want this to just have a new... I'm not sure about this right now. I'm just tossing this in here for now. We're going to have to think about that one, and whether that's the worst thing in the world or not. So we're going to have to say customer builder dot with test values how do we get that value, the initial value in there? for now, I'm going to do that. We're going to say... Does it need a new address every time? New address. There we go. Yeah, Stoolpenner. When the bot does the duel, we actually engage you with a whisper. So... Yeah, Twitchloff. That's one of the problems, is whispers come in as a special thing when you're on a phone. Okay. Let's run all our tests, make sure everything still passes. If so, then we'll call this good and say, using a customer builder in the order builder. Yeah. One thing I wonder about, I'm still not sure how much I like that, and I don't know whether in this kata we're supposed to change it. Did Steve say in the instructions, continue, tips, two approaches the build, the simple one is shown in the order build is provided in this approach, a new instance of the thing to be built created as a private field where the builder is created is manipulated by the builder and method. Something to watch out for with this approach is the reuse of the builder, since all the calls of the builder methods after the builder has been called still modify the instance that was previously returned. You can correct this by reinstantiating the private field when build is called. Ha! Yep, we did that. The second approach requires a bit more code, but is useful when you can't just instantiate the object initially. You can try out this approach when you build a customer builder as part of this exercise. Customer has a parameterized constructor that requires an ID, and its ID property is private. Yes, thus you can't just instantiate a private customer instance when you create the customer builder. Instead, you should store each property value in its own private field and then create the customer instance in the build method. This is a more correct way to implement the pattern, but it does require more code than the shortcut approach of just creating the instance when you create the builder. Okay, so sounds like we do need to... I was hoping he had some tip and he's like, yeah, you can get around it by just doing this. So, yep, we're going to go ahead and build the customer builder the right way, because we were running into the problems. So... let's see. We can just store these as fields. So let's do this. Turn this. Let me just do this for now. When we call build, we will build a new customer and return it. So this one will not even have the internal object. It does not need it. So this will just be setting test values instead of creating a new object. You can use template customer. Oh, you mean like build it on a customer object and only the private fields are set? Yeah, I guess we can. So then store it on, we'll call that internal customer. But then if you do that, you end up, well, I guess we'd reset it every time anyway. Because the problem is if we do this, then we have to do something like... Because we could do that. And then just save a value like the ID, for example. So this is one possibility, is we could say ID, int ID, and then we could just save that as a field. So then we would do this, basically. We would return back this one, not an internal customer. That would be a new one set to 0 again. This one would equal a new customer with underscore ID. And the problem is we got to do our mapping of these, so we would end up saying things like credit rating equals home address equals underscore internal customer dot home address, first name last name so we could do that, for example, and just map all those values directly over when you do the build. But that adds a lot more code than I wanted to put in there. Welcome, DevChatter. Don't need first name, last name, don't need home address. And then credit rating is an int. Clearly your credit rating is 650. Your order history is a new list of orders. And your total purchases is, I don't know, 1337. There we go, 13.37M. Perfect. Internal customer with ID, and it returns a copy of itself with a new ID. Oh yeah, you could do that, Will Bennett. The wither pattern. That's seriously what people call that one? That's a cool way to do it, creating a new object with an ID. I think the point there, Wheatlol, is that you do that specifically for the properties that are private. I think is what Will Bennett's pointing out there. But that works well enough for today. So that'll set those values. We're going to set the internal. We're going to return that one. So we set ID, all the other ones just set the internal ones, and in our order builder, well, let's run the test before we do that. Then we'll check that one. One builder adjustment at a time. Okay, test still pass. I'm going to commit that and then split the other one. Please don't have behavior dependent on the setability of the property you use with X on. Yes, that is a very good point, Will. Let me adjust to this, and then we will get to that one. Build customers when calling build. Customer builder. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to jump over to the customer. Public customer. Return a new customer with that ID. Let's pull it from this. New ID, that. And instead of internal customer, I am going to replace that with this in the current document. Replace all, please. There we go. And I actually don't need those thises now that I think about it. So I should have done this. Should have replaced them with nothing. There we go. So that all lines up. I think that'll work well. I like it. Okay, so build. We're gonna say customer is internal customer with ID underscore ID. And still reset to a new customer when we call build. Okay, I like it. That's not bad. So let's go ahead and say, well, run the test first. Hang on. Let's run the tests again. Just want to make sure we didn't break anything. Okay. Move customer cloning to customer class. There we go. Alright, let's go do the same refactor over on our order builder. We're going to make it get changed as well. So, in this one, we don't need to do the width, but I guess we can. Actually, I'm not sure we need to here. We do a variation of the builder pattern. Only because I've seen it before. Not even sure if it has a name. Oh, I wonder what it is, binary logics. Really, the builder pattern, this whole point of this pattern is just basically using a Fluent API to build objects. That's really all it is. So if you're doing that, you basically are doing it. Remote customer build, and then that's with test values. Yeah, that is similar binary logics. It's another pattern designed for the creation of objects, but yeah, that is definitely different. Yep. I have seen that before. No, it just needs to be... no, it just needs to call the base to do its thing, and then it can copy the properties it added. Okay, let's take a look at our next bit of code. Reorder methods in order builder. Commit to master. Alright, let's go. Write more code of the code writing type. Insufficient credit exception, that's a new type. So I'm going to come back to that one later. Customer must have total purchase greater than 0. There we go. So let's go back to the... wait, I didn't rename that file. Dang it. Place order throws invalid customer. Derp. Rename type to that. No! I want to rename the file, you piece of junk. Customer. There we go. Okay. I don't know why it wouldn't do that for me. Let's... I still think no method should ever be static. Wheatlol, that's just crazy. Yeah, see, as soon as you have to make even one exception, though, that kind of proves the point that we need some exceptions on it. Okay, so rename the rename that. There we go. There are some interesting structures you can do with static methods, but in general, a static method is indicative of something that could go in another place. So it could be on a different class if you end up with a static. There is a structure of which a static method can be a part. Anyway. They themselves don't have an object. Doesn't mean that they can't be involved in a larger structure. So we want customers must have a total purchase greater than 0. So let's do this. Given customer with total 0. Total 0. Okay, so if we didn't set the customer ID, we'll just use that. Before I make this test do anything, I'm going to adjust our existing tests. ID of 0 to match our new structure because we can now support that. So we're going to build the code again here in a moment. There we go. Run all the tests again. Run unit tests. Go, go, go. Alright, everything passes. Good. Fantastic. Yes, Wheatlol, C# can be used to write browser-side code now through an experiment called Blazor. Yes. So what Binary Logics mentioned there, Blazor, and what Will Bennett mentioned is WebAssembly, which is what the Blazor, that's what Blazor does, is it turns C# into WebAssembly code so that it can run directly on a browser. Don't worry, now that that's starting to become less of an experiment, we will actually take a look at Blazor here on the stream as well, so if you don't get the chance to dig into yourself, we will be messing with it here on the stream. Use the new ID setting with customers. Okay. Now, jumping back to this one. We're going to uncomment this. I probably should have done that before I checked in that test. Whoops. This returns back a customer builder total underscore internal customer dot total purchases equals total. Return customer builder. Return this derp. Let's rename this. So this is going to be total purchases. Yep. Total purchases. We're going to rename this method from total to total purchases. There we go. So now over here, total purchase is 0. Perfect. WebAssembly. Yes, there's some basic DOM support. Oh, is it? Do you just have to? I thought you could get that now without having to go through JS. I think it connects just like. Yeah, okay. Thanks, Will Bennett. Doop. Move that up there. Jump back over to this. Run these tests. What the? What? Why is that not currently available? Alright, so tests pass. Why did these tests pass? My test must not be good enough? I'm missing something? We're missing something here, guys. Did I just run the other test builder? That's funny. Well, we're going to take a look at this then. Place order. We're going to drop a breakpoint temporarily. Hop back over here. I'm going to debug that one. Sorry, Will Bennett. Validate order. We're going to step into validate customer. We're also going to step in. Customer ID was 0. There's our problem. That shouldn't have been a problem. With test values should have set those values. Oh! Derp, there's the problem. Got it. Creighton, welcome. Okay. Now when we run all these tests, and actually before we do that, let me fix this. This namespace needs to get adjusted. Throw away that unit test session. We're going to run all the unit tests again and see what we end up with. There we go. Much nicer. You all can't see that super well, but we have one failing test back here, right there. Failed because no exception was thrown, and we were supposed to throw an exception. So, let's take a look. Let's take a quick look-see. If we go back to this, you'll see that I did not write the code yet, so that's why it did not throw the exception. We're going to say customer dot total purchases greater than or equal to greater than must have code. Ooh, equal to 0. We allow 0. Sorry, I will have to adjust that code. So new invalid customer exception. Cannot have negative purchase total. Okay. With negative total. Oh, and actually, what does with test values do? Total purchase. That was positive. And we did not throw an exception. Yep. So total purchases, negative 100 money. And why did I leave that as an int when this is clearly a decimal? Negative 100 money. There we go. Run this. Wrong condition. Oh, you're right. That's the exact opposite. Well, we're about to find out. In that case, let's let the test catch it, because the test will still fail. We want the exact opposite of that. Less than 0. Now, when we run the test, boom! Suddenly, it'll work. And green. And there's why we test. So this fix with test values in customer builder. And that is validate customer total purchase. Okay. Can I still undo that? Yes, I can. There we go. I wanted to get rid of that to-do comment also. That's why I undid my commit there. Alrighty then. Total purchases, validate address. So I'm going to come back for that one, because I want to create the invalid address section of code now. So let's do one of these. We're going to hop over here, hop up to the top, duplicate that line, throws invalid address right there. Let's move this to its own file. Move type to there. There we go. Throws invalid address. Boom. Fact. And actually, I just realized I can rename all these tests, because they're now just the givens. given that. So throws invalid address given that. Which I will do in a moment. Invalid. Valid address exception. Don't want that. Given something, there we go. Okay, so all I've done so far is create this. So I'm going to uncheck that. I want to come over here, and I want to say throws exception underscore. I'm going to replace this with nothing in this document. So I've just renamed these 4 tests. Now I'm going to go into this one. I'm going to replace the same thing. In this document, I'm going to get rid of that. So our tests have now been renamed. So they should be a little nicer now, too. So cleaner, shorter names. Ah, okay, that's our new test. That one doesn't do anything yet, so it's okay that that one's failing. We can comment it out if we really want to, but I'm just going to commit these. So, remove redundant text from test names. There we go. Okay. Shrink that out of the way. Given something, invalid address exception. We definitely don't get that yet. If we go to our order service, we're supposed to get that exception if there's no street 1. Okay. Now the question is whether we're going to do an address builder as well, which we might. We'll have to find out what this ends up looking like. So, customer, we can use our customer builder to make our customer. Address, test values address, and then address needs something else for it. We need a new address. We don't want to just new address on this, do we? We might have to change up the structure for how we do this. We might want to nice this up so that there's a way of accessing the customer builder that it builds the customer with, or something like that. Something to think about. But for now, we'll go this way. Actually, yeah, let's, hang on. Ooh, I'm thinking about doing a, crazy thing. Here's my thought. Public order builder. Oops, order builder. On customer. No, we can't do that. We can't do that. We'd have to return back that. No, that just won't work. There's not. I can't think of a nice way to do that. Maybe we can. Hey, Copious, welcome. That's Wheatlaw for you. Address. So we're gonna make class address builder builder. It is going to have public void public address builder with test values. Return this. It needs to have a private address underscore internal address. With default values. How did we do it in the order builder? Did I just set them? Yes, I just set them. So I'm going to say internal address dot street 1. Because I believe the first thing we need is street 1 is required. So we're going to put that there. And then what I'm going to do is public address build. And for this, we're going to say var built address equals underscore internal address underscore internal address equals new address. And we're going to return the built address. So save that, save a reference to it, return that back to us, reset the initial one, and we should be good. So now we can set up methods for creating this. So street 1 is required, invalid address. So we're now going to say inside the base, in addition to a customer builder and an order builder, we're going to have an address builder. Address builder, why did you cap that letter? Address builder, there we go. Given no street 1. Underscore address builder dot with test values street 1. And that will be build. So now when I create this method, I need to give it an address builder as its return value. And this is going to be street 1. It's going to return this, and before it does that, it's going to set the value of the internal address, street 1, equal to street 1. What was street on our address object? No, it was state. I misread that. I was like, why is there street and street 1? Helps if you read the code right, Brendan. Given no street 1. We're expecting an invalid address exception. That should not be possible. Nothing throws that in the code as far as I know. Which means that should fail. So when I go over to the order service, I can now say if home address street 1 string dot is null or empty. I guess I'm allowing an empty space to be. I'm allowing a single space to count as an address. Whatevs. Then we're gonna say throw new invalid address exception. And in it, we're gonna say, really? Street 1 is required. Street 1 is required. Other things I should mention while people are here. If you are interested, you should check out our Discord. It's a place to chat with us outside the stream. We're obviously not ending right now. I'm going to keep writing this code, but I figured I'd mention it. And all the code we do here on the stream is out on GitHub if you're interested. There is that, and there's a lot of information down below the stream as well, so make sure you check some of that stuff out. Okay, let's run these tests again. So I'm going to click that button right there. We're just going to see if that fixes the test. It does. Let's go ahead and get rid of the to-do comment, since we got that one knocked on out of the park. So, validate address as street 1. Boom. Committed. Alright, next one. City is required. Let's get rid of that, get rid of that. We're just working on this one right here. I don't like how much effort goes into creating those right there, because we're just validating that. So I almost want a helper for these and be like, get me this structure with all the... Actually, now that I think about it, it's just because I want to modify the address of the customer that's on the order. It's a really good question on what structure we should use to make that a little nicer, because I don't like just how much setup there still is, even though I understand that we need nested objects in order to be able to get down to this level to get these problems. Just doesn't seem like what I want to have in there. Since I gave the order builder a customer builder, wow, a bunch of stuff calls that, but I don't think they need to. Because that should set the address. Oh yeah, I did see that, Will. You posted that in the Discord. I think that we want to do this. Built order dot customer equals customer builder build right there. So we want to put the customer in right at this moment, like give it actually maybe right when we do the order, like build finalizes the object, I would think. I guess we're going to lose it there anyway, so we can set it this way. Have a good one, Stool Penner. Thanks for being here. Much appreciated. In the customer builder, then, I kind of want to have an internal address builder. Address builder, address builder, address builder. So then when we do a build, I say built customer address equals that dot build. No, Wheatlaw, we do have a customer method on the order builder, and that lets us just modify the customer, but I'm kind of feeling like I like this approach better, and I don't know how it's going to work. We're committed right now, so it's clean slate, so if we don't like this, we just discard the changes. I just want to see what this is going to look like if we go this route instead. So in the order builder, instead of having customer, I'm just wondering if there's a way that we can instead access the order builder of that and modify its values. Getting back the parent, I'm not sure. It feels like there should be a way to do it, but there may not be. And if there's not, I'm just going to discard this. So here's what I'm wondering, because what I don't like is just the amount of stuff that's required just to build that. That still feels like a lot of work just to build this. Calling customer should be done with the result of a customer builder. Yeah, Wheatlaw, that's what I'm doing. That's what we do right now. I'm wondering about a different approach. Yeah, Wheatlaw, that's exactly what we do. I'm just wondering if there's another way to do it. So, like, that is precisely what we've got here. So we're passing in address. Address gets built by a customer builder. You know, it's the exact structure that you're showing there. I'm just wondering if there's another way to do it. If there's something nicer that we can do. Because I almost want to be like, you know, customer builder, and then like somehow, you know, like apply a change to the customer builder and be like, you know, with test values, and do something like this, right? Wondering if we can do that. So instead of having that, and it might be terrible, but I want to see what it looks like if we go that route. I want to try it at least. So maybe it's awful. Maybe it's really terrible. Will Bennett, what is the way you're thinking of? I may not like it, but no reason not to try it. No one here will like any of it. That's possible, Wheatlaw. Don't know. We're trying stuff. We're building new things. So we want to get back our order builder. So if this takes an action of type no, it's a function. Is it customer builder? Customer builder. Customer build. It is going to be a customer builder. Action of customer builder. So it's an action that receives a customer builder, and we do something with it. Nice, Wheatlaw. Yeah, we're going to start with the keyword unsafe. So we do that, and then return back the object. Yeah, I think that would work. You return the interface for each method like you're returning the instance now, except it implements an interface. You can have the class implement multiple interfaces, hence two builders combined. Oh yeah, Will Bennett. That sounds mildly painful. But yes, you're right. Because then you could be working with an interface instead, and your class would grow large. But at least the interface anyone deals with would be smaller. But here's what I was thinking, and I want to see what code this creates. So CB. Let's see, cb.withTestValues.address.build. I said this was an action. I meant to say this was a func that, no, it's an action. Because I don't need to call build on it then. Then we don't do that. Whew, that's... I don't hate that. I don't hate that. And then in this one, this is a func that takes in an address builder. Address build. Instead of doing that, we do address build, passing in the address, the underscore address, underscore address builder. I can type. I swear, I've typed before. Wait, why is that complaining? Oh, function, action. Sorry. Action of type address builder. Do that, and then when we go to build, we call address builder.build. Okay. Builder. No, I don't need to, Wheatlall. The builder does that for me. Because we don't get it back. Oh, because we could store it in our we could store our internal builder as that. But it's modifying itself, right? I guess because we know how it works, we could do this. Yeah, so we could do this. We could make it a function of address builder like that. And then it puts itself back on that, so then it does necessarily give back the same one. So if it for some reason created a new version of itself, you'd be okay. And then in order builder, we would want to do the same thing with the customer builder and say that that's a func of customer builder, and then it returns on customer builder equals that. There we go. So there's our customer build that we're going to do. And so now when we actually run that, we can say, even on address, we don't need this anymore. So that'll be AB. So customer equals customer builder with that, and then address builder. There we go. Why not build? Then you're about a builder where I have virtual extension method. Yes, Wheatlall. In existing code bases, you can get some very complex structures. This I don't mind too much, to be honest. I don't mind that. I don't mind that. Let's fix up the other code to do the same kind of thing. So the other places where we called this, instead of calling the customer builder like this, we're gonna say cb equals cb.that, and we don't have to call build on the end because it's gonna do that when we build. So remember, we are at green right now, so this is just a refactoring. This is just a refactoring right now. We're going to do that, and so we're going to change this to CB again. From there to there. Get rid of that. We don't actually need the customer object, so CB. There we go. So there's how we create our customer object. Next one. So in this one, that will also be CB. Yeah, definitely don't hate this. This is not a terrible setup. I can understand what it's doing, and that's the key. I want to be able to understand what the code does. C# doesn't have that feature with extension lambdas. On a side note, slightly off topic, have we made a test yet that doesn't throw? Yeah, Wheatlall. You can do it without a lambda by having customer able to return an order that you pass in. So Will Bennett, the way that we would have to do that if we wanted to go that route, we could make a version of the customer that took in an actual customer object, and say set the builder. So we could allow any of our builders to have their internal object just set, and then if we did that, we could wire that up pretty easily. So yeah, we could definitely do that. So this again, we're going to go with CB one more time. Cut that. There we go. Customer on its own line, build on its own line. CB, nice big arrow. There we go. Oh, that is so much nicer. I like it. That's not to say there couldn't be better structures. There definitely could be better stuff than this, but I like how much that clears up there. Null ref. Nice. Let's figure out what that is. And null ref. So where are we null refing? Customer builder. Let's debug the two busted ones. Debug, where are you breaking? What's null? What did we not quite get there? Null reference. Address build. Oh, whoops. Yep. We did not fix all references to that. What do we do if the address is null? So I guess in order to do that, we do have to take the case that, Yep, null is an instance of func, exactly, yep. It is. So is, I don't want to go to the next version. Rage. Customer builder. Address build. Why don't we say build address instead? And then we'll do the other one as set address. Create a method to set the address. We'll call that the address object. Address. Okay. There are two references to it. Why are there only two references to it? I would think the other ones would count. AB with street. This is going to be build address. Oh, actually, underscore address builder. Set address. Address builder equals address builder after we set the value. Return this. So now I'm going to put this method on here. We're just going to have a set. Internal object equals address. So we're going to have a way of overriding the value and then return this. So we'll have a setter on each one of these, so you can actually set the value when you want it to set it, when you want to set it to null. So then on the order builder, instead of just having customer like this, we want build customer to be what it's called. And actually, I am going to just do a rename on that. Build customer. Build customer. Don't rename any of those, please. Those are great the way they were. So that's build customer. Then we want a public order builder customer that takes in a customer calls the customer builder equal to customer builder dot set customer. Return this. Okay. Need to create this method. It returns back a customer builder, takes a customer called customer, and it sets internal customer equal to that customer, and then return this. Perfect. So now, when we build this, run it, we should still get some null reference exceptions, probably one, I think, which we will fix, because that is going to be the one spot that still needed to get its value set. So build customer needs to just be customer. And there we go. Restructured, except I still got my null reference. Huh. Well, we'll find out where that one happened then. Where did you null ref, huh? Where did you do it? Internal customer was null. Oh, because it tries to set the AID on a null customer. Right. That's fine. We'll just do that. Right, you can't do that on these, can you? That's hilarious. I don't know how you get away with a null customer when you build like that. How would we get around that? We'd have to, like, null ref this thing. That's silly. Now, alternately, we can do that not there, and go to the address right here. Call it there. Oh, not at this one, sorry. Wrong one. Where's build address? Where's address builder? Build address, where'd you get to? Build address, right there. So then that would only happen when it got called. And then ID, so the width that we did. What the heck is that? Build. If that's null, we're going to get back null anyway and return null. That's fine. Oh, that's pretty cool, Will Bennett. Yeah, I could. I think I like the way I just adjusted that there. So then I want to make the build. So that was inside of build address. So in the order builder, I want to do the same thing on the build customer. I think I want to say underscore order dot customer equals underscore customer builder dot build. So Xblaboom, welcome, thanks for following. So we do that, which means that we don't have to do it on this build right there, because we did it here. So when you alter the builder, that's when we build. So you make the change, you build. Done. Alright, let's run all the tests again, see what happens. I actually don't know on this one. It might pass, might fail. We might have borked something somewhere. Given customer without address, we should have had an invalid customer exception, but we got an invalid address exception, which means we made it past that one. Thanks, Root Guy. I love this theme in Emacs. It's called the Dark theme in Visual Studio. It's quite nice. It's a really good Emacs theme. Alright, so address we passed in null. Let's debug this. I want to see what's going on. We are going to see what derping happened here. So we're going to validate the order. Come in here. Order's fine, validate the customer. This is where we want it to fail. Address is not null. We got a null object, but not a null itself, which means someone set that home address before we got here. Let's debug this again, and we'll find out who did that. Who did that? Who messed with my data? So when we build customer, we said with address that. Drop a breakpoint there. Debug it again. Yeah, Wheatlol, I borked something on the builders. So that's why we're going to take a look at what happened here. Okay, there's a basic object. This one comes in. We're going to say do the customer builder, which is... It's not going to save that because I didn't make it an expression. So our customer builder was supposed to do what? With test values and address. So with test values and address null. Creates a new customer object with an address. Okay, so that creates the empty address right there. But then, when I pass in address null... Oh, I didn't set it. Okay, there it is. So this one, we set that value, but what we didn't do was... Address... Wait, hang on. Address builder set. Oh, I didn't call build on it. Derp. Oh, these don't need to do that anymore. All right, yeah, no, that's what it is. Dot address equals address. We don't have to call that anymore. We don't need the setter because we changed how the build works. So the set doesn't actually need to happen. So that's going away also. So address builder dot set. We no longer need you. Address builder, where's set? No, don't need you. Okay. In the order builder where it called that, we don't need to do that because we can now just set the value initially because we changed how the rest of it worked. There we go. Perfect. Let's give that a big old run there. You didn't recreate the address on build. Yeah, so I could have recreated it inside of the set, or I could just remove the concept of the set altogether, because we're now doing the build of the customer when we actually call it. So if you look at our tests now, when this happens, it builds the customer object, and this builds our full other object. So this includes a build now, hence the name change. So that's the difference. Okay, there we go. So that is our big builder refactoring. Give access to nested builders. Fantastic. That's working. Task list. How many more of these do we have? Cities required. There we go. So, let's take a look at that piece now. Let's get rid of some of these. We don't need that. So, invalid address. Given no street 1. Given no city. Build customer, build address, city, null. So we're going to create a method on here called city. It's going to take in a string called city. Set the city value, return this. That should throw an exception. Right now, it will not. So, no exception was thrown. So now, let's make it throw an exception. Order service. If string.is null or empty, home address.city, throw new invalid address exception, city is required. There we go. Now when we rerun that test, actually I should rerun all the tests. Derpity derp. Derpity derp. There we go. City is required. We can remove this and commit our change. Validate that addresses have city. State is also required. Given no state. State. Create this one as well. Address builder, string, state. Internal address, state. State. Turn this. Okay. There we go. Run all the tests again. This time we expect that new test to fail. But it didn't. You telling me that threw an invalid address exception? Really? State. Oh, I bet the default values didn't include a city. Yep, city. What's our city gonna be? Need to choose a city. Cleveland, it rocks. State, Ohio. Fakeville, come on, CTI Geek. The Fakeville, what are you talking? That's just clearly made up. Anybody can tell. And boom, test fails. So now let's go and make this one pass. State is now going to be required. If string is null or empty, home address dot state, throw new invalid address exception, state is required. Fakeville doesn't exist? Hell exists. Yeah, Hell, Michigan. Totally real city with totally real not fake people. Exactly, CTI Geek. You got it. Totally real not fake people. Why would anyone think there were fake people in Fakeville? Order builder dot with test values with customer with test values get customer with address with test values get address. I'm guessing in, yeah, exactly. So in Will Bennett's case, we're actually just working on the other builders. So validate that we have state. That's not that address has state. Okay, now we jump back to this so we can have postal code and county. Derp-a-derp, given no postal code. So postal code is going to be null. Create postal code, string postal code, and yes, for anyone who lives in a country where you just use numbers for postal code, make sure you store that as a string instead of a number, because we happen to, for example, the US, because we happen to have some zip codes that start with 0. If you didn't know that, that could be a problem. Return this. Now let's wire up this one as well. Hang on while I ask Google a question. What's a good number? So this is, it's one of those. Hang on, do they have? Oh yes, there we go. Okay, because this is our 111st episode of DevChatter. What better choice could we make than this? We are going to use this postal code. 44 and then 11D1. Wheatlol, our system apparently is requiring them, so don't worry about that. That's just a requirement on this code. So, what is the name of that Git GUI there? Crichton, that is GitHub Desktop that we're using here on the stream. Let's run the unit tests. Yeah, that's what it seemed like, Wheatlol, as we were going back up to the parent each time. Hell Angel, welcome. So we expected an exception to be thrown. No exception was thrown. That's fine, because we expected it to expect that and not have it happen. So if string dot is null or empty, home address dot postal code, we are going to throw new invalid address exception. Postal code is required. There we go. Now when we rerun all the tests, yeah, a lot of languages work differently, and so there are different requirements in different languages for what types of structures you need to build. There we go. Validate that addresses have postal codes. Welcome. I'm gonna go with L. Thank you for that follow. Much appreciated. Hope that means you're both enjoying the stream then. And last but not least, we need, what is that? Was that county or country? Country! I previously read that as county, which is a problem with that word in the language and them having such related meanings. Given no county. County. Wait, we just said country, didn't we? Derp. Country. Country. String. Country. Internal address. Country equals country. Return this. So now we've got that. Now when I run this, oh wait, I missed a thing. Hang on. Gotta fix it. Wait, address builder. Wrong one. Country. USA. Might have still failed, but still. Let's get it failing for the right reason. There we go. Okay. Machine needed transition. It's more than what we do here, since you could have multiples of each of the same machine. Okay. No exception was thrown. That makes sense. We wouldn't have thrown an exception because we didn't write the code for it yet. If string dot is null or empty, home address dot country, throw new invalid address exception, and this is country is required. Okay, so now let's jump back to the order service, delete that last to-do right there, and we're going to commit this. Validate that we that address has country. Boom. There we go. Push that change, and we're going to take a look at our task list. So seeing this, there are not many things left to add here. Customer must have a credit rating, otherwise throw insufficient credit exception. So I skipped this one early on because I wanted to. I figured we were probably going to break our tests apart eventually, and so I was like, let's wait on that because I felt like we were going to have a ginormous amount. So let's do this. So I am going to duplicate that line. Create that. And there we go. There's our new class, which we are going to move to its own file. So we have a new type of fact that we can create here. So there's a fact. Public void given. Whoops, it's right there. Given customer. Shows insufficient credit given customer with credit rating below 200. So let's steal this from here. That's insufficient credit exception is what we're looking for. Let's get some more space here. We don't need those. We just want to say build customer builder. I'm going to say cb dot. This must be where we set their credit rating. That did say greater. It said greater than 200. Why don't we just say credit rating 200? Because that's the limit. So we're going to set it to 200 and say that's invalid. Yeah, exactly. That's a very good point. Given customer with, we'll say, low credit rating. And actually, we could do test cases on this as well. To have more than one instance testing the same concept. Because we could put it at 200, and we could also have one that was set to like 150 or something. Although I don't know how low a credit rating can, you know, realistically go. I don't know the systems in different countries, but either way, let's set this value customer builder. That is credit rating underscore internal customer dot credit rating equals credit rating. Return this. There we go. That would actually be quite fun. I would like that a lot. So this, what happened? We wanted that. What did we get instead? We got an invalid customer. Customer must have an ID greater than 0. Test values on customer doesn't get me that. Oh, whoops. With test values. Derp. That was on me. That was on me. Well, hang on just a minute. Hang on. I am going to adjust these because I don't want to do that. That is going to get annoying. Let's go to these builders. So, customer builder, when we run this, with test values, should do a... Instead of address, this should be underscore address builder with test values build. And then the order builder should do the same thing for customer. With test values, order dot customer builder dot with test values dot build, because we told it to use test values, so we're gonna let it fill in with those. Let's run all these tests again. Everything except that one passes. Okay, good. So what we're going to do is not commit this one yet. So that will not go in. Start with should build lower internal internal builders. Okay, we're gonna do that. Now on to this one. Insufficient credit. Credit rating 200. There we go. So now this fails because no exception was thrown. That's correct. So now in our order service, we're going to say if customer dot credit rating less than or equal to 200, throw new insufficient credit exception. Customer must have credit above 200. There we go. Much better. Validate customer credit rating. Boom. Tested. Push that up. Task list. How many do we have left? Alright, so expedite order. If credit rating is over 500 and the total purchases is over 5,000, set expedited to true. Okay. That seems right. Where was this called and referenced? Just called expedite order. I don't know if I like that name, expedite order. I kind of feel like that should be like expedited if needed or something like that. So, well, we'll take a look. So we will say place order. Let's duplicate this line. I'm going to do a basic should set now. So we separated out the throws ones. Fact, I'm going to say public set expedited given, and what are those conditions? High credit and high total purchase. High credit and high total purchase. Okay. And just because this feels like a set, set expedited should not set expedited given low credit why am I getting all these red squigglies? Did I bork some formatting somewhere? Oh, right. Void. That's why I'm getting all those squigglies. Derp. 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 Herpaderp. Alright, now let's duplicate this, and we're gonna say not set expedited given low total purchase. Okay, so those are the tests we're gonna make. I just want to set those up real fast. Let's jump over to one of these. We're not asserting that a throw happens. Assert true, ordered not, is expedited. And then these ones are going to be assert false, that order is expedited. We can potentially well, let me finish up this stuff I'm doing here. Set expedited given high credit and total purchase. Okay. In the order service, it receives an order. Total purchases greater than that. That must be going off of the order amount, right? Not based on the customer. Must be based on that. So we're going to say order amount is going to be 5,001 buckaroos, and then customer builder CB dot credit rating, and the credit rating that he's going to get is 501. Given low credit, so credit, I'm just going to set it to 500. We're going to put it right on the border here. And low total purchase is going to be exactly 5,000. So let's see what we get out of that. So one test failed. And that's correct, because the other two should have succeeded right off the bat, because they said don't do anything, and it doesn't do anything. But now, when we actually build it, we can say if order dot total amount greater than 5,000 and order dot customer dot credit rating greater than 500, then order dot is expedited equals true. Let's run all our tests again, and in theory this should work. RIP. Which one failed? Ooh, it didn't set it to true. Oh, I never called it. Derp. I never called it. No wonder. Order dot. So we gotta call order service place order on the order. It helps if you actually, you know, call the code. Okay. So now we're going to run that again. Boom. Okay. Customer must have an address. Customer doesn't have an address. So I'm going to say with test values on these. With test values. With test values. There we go. There we go. So now, just to confirm that these tests really do fail. Oh, actually, that one won't make that one fail. I need to do this. So go down the line and confirm that each test actually can fail, which makes sure that I actually wrote the test correctly. There we go. Alright, and then switching them back, the tests can pass. And if so, that should be good. Here's what we're going to do. We are going to do a theory instead of a fact here. We're going to say inline data, and it's going to be credit rating of 500. So we're going to say int credit rating. Actually, we're just going to call it rating. Essentially extracting that value. So this is supposed to be a low credit rating, so we'll also do 200. And then in this one, we can do the same thing, but instead for the purchase total. So we'll say decimal purchase, and we want to extract that, so we're going to do purchase that inline data. Wait, what? Why is the inline data complaining about that? Can it not take in a decimal value? You tell me it can convert it to a decimal, but it can't have it in there like that. Okay. That's how you define a decimal literal. Must have credit above 200. Oh, we went down below that. That's funny. I went too low. I went below the other validation, so now my test is a little bit better. Thankfully, it threw that exception at me. So, nice. Okay, so that is getting that. So let's go get rid of that to-do comment. Goodbye, to-do. Expedite important orders. There we go. Let's commit that. Take a look at our task list. We only have a couple things left. I know! Yes, exactly, Sir Think-A-Lot. The to-dos are almost done. We're down to just 2 of them. Alright, add order to customer history. Alright, add order to customer history. So, customer must have a I'm not actually going to write the code, I just want to see. Order.customer.order history. Yep, okay, so he has order history. That's all I wanted to see. Alright, let's go, isn't there a done button? Alright, place order should. Let's do this. Fact. Add order to order history. There is no given. That just happens. Like, that we just do. So I would say given valid order, but that seems redundant. Cert. We'll figure that out in a second. I think test values should just work. So we're just going to do order with test values, place order. Order dot customer dot order history dot assert collection contains. Yeah, we can make sure that exact order is in here. We expect order to be in here, and then that's our collection. Okay. There we go. So we expected to find that order, and there was nothing in it. That makes sense. So let's go back to the order service, and we're going to say order.customer.order history.add order. Okay. There we go. Yeah, I would do that. So I use regions for only a couple of things. I use it for hiding away stuff like my implementation of inequality, for example. So what Will Bennett's mentioning. So I use regions to hide away implementations of interfaces that are really common stuff. So just to be like, that's not really part of my class, I just happen to also need to implement that thing, so that's what I do with them. If I need anything, well, sure, you could Wheatlall, but you need to have, like an inequality, for example, that needs to be on that class itself. So you can't really move that somewhere else. But yeah, if you have a lot of regions, it's usually indicative of your code is too big, too long where it is, and you need to move some of that elsewhere. Yeah, exactly. Like the Microsoft boilerplate code. Yep, so any kind of boilerplate stuff that really is not your stuff, that you want to hide away in a region. Okay, so add order to history after purchase. Okay, so update the customer's total purchases property. Ah, yep, see, it was that. Cat, you want to stop? My cat wanted to say hi on the stream. Hi, everybody. Hello, everybody out in the internet. My name is Jolie, and I like to knock the green screen around. Meow. Please don't knock my green screen down. Okay, let's see. Jolie, quit it. Alright. Man, he really just wants to get picked up today. So anyway. Is WinForms still used? Yes, it is, actually. And WinForms is getting an upgrade in that it's going to be able to use .NET Core now. So that's kind of cool. Please don't partial methods. Partial classes, you mean, Wheatlall? Partial classes. Don't fix things that aren't broken. I get the feeling that you just don't like C#, Wheatlall. Wheatlall doesn't like a lot of languages, Will. With large code, you gotta wait. Yeah, I know. We got Cat Stream here today, and he looks super evil because his eyes get yeah. So even he gets chroma keyed out a little bit. Thanks, cat. Yes, web forms is still used in a lot of places, actually. Okay, let's go back to finishing this now that we're done with our cat stream for a bit there. So, customers' total purchases. Place order should. Add order total to customer purchases. Okay, so when we place order, we want to make sure that we have a set order total so we know what it is. So order amount is going to be 100. And then we're going to say customer. Build customer. CB dot total purchases equals, I don't know, 400M. And actually, let's, with test values, total purchases that. Then what we're going to do is we're going to say assert equal and just because I'm crazy, we're going to do this. So order amount and total purchases. We want to check the total purchases equals order amount plus total purchases. There we go. I think that'll run the test. We'll see if I messed that. Remember what happened in Netscape. No, specimen. The M actually tells it that that's a decimal value. That's a decimal value then. Sable, thank you for the follow there. Greatly appreciated. Do we have to deal with rounding off pennies? So we're not dealing with it. We're not doing any divisions. So no, 100M is actually $1. So 100M would be $1, or it would be $100. Yeah, 100M would be $100. Sorry, yes, $100. Because I could actually write it like this, and that's basically the same value, right? So I could write them like that. That just says to store it as a decimal. So it's just a value type. So if I did this, you'd see what it is. Does that make sense? It's not exactly an integer. A decimal is a special type of value. It's a numeric that that does actually track the decimal place and the bits, and it's not floating point style, so you don't lose precision there. Exactly, Wheatlaw. We did not change the values in the models, and they all use decimals. We are storing as a decimal. So decimal is not floating point. So decimal and floating point are two different things. So there's no danger of like doing calculations. You can do money calculations on decimals, and you won't have a problem there. Exactly. Floating point is base 2, decimal is base 10. Well said, Wheatlaw. Which means we don't run into any weirdness there. What's the benefit of using var instead of the type? So that's actually a quick answer. The only benefit is just in your source code. It is shorter to write var, but actually what ends up happening is at compile time, the type is known. So at compile time, it changes all vars to whatever type they are. So that's just a convenience for the developer. If you don't want to see the type, just type var. If you want to see what the type is, put it in there. That's the only difference. Okay. We knew this was going to fail because it did not actually do what we told it was going to do. So we're going to do order.customer.total purchases plus equals order.total amount. Done. Run all the tests again. And I think this might be the last one. Yeah, so C# is nice that way because there's no loss to using var. Nothing gets weird about that. It's not like it changes it dynamically at runtime. The var can't, you can't change the type of that variable at runtime. You can't. It was hard-coded at compile time what that value is going to be. So, there we go. Can remove that comment and add order total to customer purchase total. Let's confirm. Did we get them all? Hey, we got them all! Yes! Nice! That's what I call a hype right there. Alright, awesome. So we got that. We have that all pushed up. What is going on in chat? Yeah, so what Wheatlaw's mentioning, saying like, I do the same thing. So like, if I say, I would say customer equals new customer. This I would write as a var, right? So this is how I'd write this one, but if I had my customer equals, even get customer, I might not, because I might not use var here, only because get customer might be like get the customer name or get the customer DTO or something. I don't know for certain what the type is, so I want to see it, because with this, that could be a string, I don't know. And so that's why I like to see that there. Okay, so saved, no changes, we're good. Excellent. Exactly what Will Bennett said. You shouldn't waste brain power trying to figure out a type. It's not worth it, because a lot of people will be like, oh, but you can just mouse over the var. And I'm like, yeah, I can mouse over the var and it will tell me the type. But that's like effort. That was thought. I either had to figure it out or mouse over it to figure it out. So, for example, that var is an order. I can mouse over it and see that it's an order. And actually, even for this, I could see, putting in order, right? We started with some existing code that have that. So, okay. Don't need that. I'm not going to make that change. It's not worth doing. Also, in for each loops, var is useful if you don't want to check type every time. What do you mean, So Think a Lot? In the for each loop, you could put in the type if you want, and it doesn't make a difference. I'd rather use... Wheatlaw, what do you want complex builder logic? Technically, we could do a little bit of refactoring now if we wanted on our builders. So we have these three builders are what we ended up making to do those tests and set them up the way we wanted. A couple of things we could do to nice them up a bit is see, ID, order amount, build customer. I'm actually going to move build customer down here with build. And then with test values right there. So, reorder code in order builder. Technically, I should test that. I'll run the tests in a second. Hopefully, I don't bork it all. The duel between... Both picked right. Oh, which test has the most complex usage? We'll take a look in a minute, Wheatlaw. So in our customer builder, we have build address, which actually, again, I'm going to move that to just above our build method. Then we have build and with test values, which I'm good with being at the bottom. And then address we'll put right above build address, because I think that makes the most sense for a spot to put that. And then lastly is credit rating, which needs to move up to a higher position, like maybe right after that. There we go. Rearranged. Reorder customer builder. Last is the address builder. And for this one, I think I just need to move build and with test values down to the bottom. And that, I think, is the shortest way of getting that set up. There we go. I have no idea what that was or why it was there. Reorder address builder. And then I will check out what's going on in chat here in a minute once I start this test run right there. Okay. Beep boop beep. That's good to know, Crimson Green. All right. Go ahead and push that out, and we should be in pretty good shape there. So I like the way that test worked out. Let's take a glance through the tests. We have some complex ones, and Wheatlaw was wondering where the most complex build is that we've got. None of those look scary, so if any of those are the most complex one, I don't feel bad about it at all. That doesn't look bad. That could be the most complex one. It doesn't look bad either. So with test values, that, yeah, no, none of those. That might be the worst one. Oh, this wasn't able to change its name. Oh, man. Thought that file got its name changed, but I guess it didn't. Fix. Rename file. Oh, that's not bad at all. So that's apparently our worst one right there. And place order should. This is our most complex one, I think. Well, no, even that. No, that's nothing. None of those are bad. I don't mind any of those. Oh, take care, sir. Think a lot. Thanks for hanging out. So, which one will it Bennett? So, Wheatlaw. None of those looked all that bad. Those all look pretty easy. I specifically like my structure with my, I actually do like that. I think that worked out nicely. It's got to be one of the address ones, right? Build customer with address, and even that, again, it's so not complicated at all. So, I think it looks great. I'm happy with that, with those pieces. There's still obviously problems with the code. There's always going to be problems with the code. That's never something to really fight too much about. But, yeah. A couple of things I want to mention. If you haven't yet, hit that follow button to make sure that you get notified when our stream goes live. Also, if you that's hilarious. That's 2 Discord links over there. So if you check in the chat, there are links to our Discord. If you don't know what Discord is, it's a chat application that's commonly used by gamers and Twitch streamers. And so we use it here. Think kind of like Slack, but optimized for different stuff. And we really like Discord here. So we have a Discord, and there are a bunch of us on there. There's, we have, I don't even know, we're closing in on a few hundred developers that are actually in there. So if you do want to talk with people about coding, that is a place that you can do it. So there's a bunch of us that are interested in development. They're all the people that view the channel. So feel free to go out there and hang out. I will actually take a look at that, Wheatlaw. Default order Total amount, big decimal that, total purchases. Oh yeah, that's kind of cool. I like it. It's nice and easy. Other things I want to mention. Our code is obviously out on GitHub, so you can actually see this solution I was just working on today. And then, if you want to see some of our old archives of our videos, you can check here the video section on Twitch, or you can go take a look at our YouTube channel. Also linked there in the chat. If you want to follow me on Twitter, I am at Brendonius, right, and it's listed right there. And you can find a link to it down below the stream if you want a shortcut for that. If you want to follow just the DevChatter updates, you can take a look at twitter.com/devchatter_, and that's the place where you can get that. I am scheduling some new Learn to Code episodes here, so if you are one of the more beginner developers, or you know someone that wants to learn how to code in C#, I do a series of streams that is Learn to Code in C#. I just put a link to it there in the chat. If you click on that, it will take you to this location. And when I schedule our new streams, you will see that information here. For now, you can click Remind Me, and it will let you know when these streams happen, so you can make sure you attend. They're always designed as like follow-along code exercises. So you can show up, install the tools that we tell you to have set up, and you will be all set to follow along. We've done streams that cover a lot of different basics and stuff like that. We've done streams where we just talked about all the different types of looping mechanisms. So even a lot of professional developers found that useful because we don't get around to using all the different mechanisms for looping. So if you are interested or know someone who wants to learn to code, that is a series of streams to check out. And lastly, if you are interested in supporting the channel, you can do that in more ways than just being here and viewing and chatting, and following the stream and other things like that. You could also retweet stuff about, just tweet about, or anything like that. And you can subscribe to our channel to get access to our emotes and other fun stuff. So if you've seen anybody in here with an egg next to them, or one of these little dinosaurs like what I've got next to my face on the stream, next to my name on the stream, I should say. And you'll see that they are right around... Oh, yeah, and the hype emote's right there. So if I spam that in there, you see these little dinosaurs. So if you subscribe to the channel, you get access to that stuff. If you are an Amazon Prime member, you actually get subscription for free. And then other stuff to mention. Oh, if you are interested in getting any awesome Chatosaurus stuff, like I'm coding mugs or stickers or anything like that, we have stuff available on our merch store. I should say merch stores, plural. They're linked there in the chat. And let's see. If you really wanted to go way above and beyond, our greatest supporters are actually the ones on Patreon, and we are going to give them the best benefit of all, which is going to be access to, connecting into Visual Studio while we are coding. So we're going to make a VS Live Share link available to some of our higher tier Patreon supporters, so that we can let them actually dig around in the code while I'm coding, so they can actually look around at things. It's going to be read-only access, but that is our plan. Once we can get the VS Live Share team to set everything up the way that we need it to be. And with that, I want to say thank you to everyone for the awesome stream. It was quite fun. And Will Bennett, hopefully you sent me that message in Discord. The stuff about the dynamic tests, I would love to see what you've got there. And same thing for Wheatlaw, those messages about the different ways of doing this code, I would love to see it. And if anyone followed along or did this kata, I would love to see your solution, so we can, see some other unique ideas for how you can solve this. I thought ours worked pretty well, and I didn't mind our builders, or how we handled the nested builder. So, anyway, I will see everybody on Thursday. Don't forget our Thursday stream starts a couple of hours early, so whatever time it is for you now, subtract 5 hours and 22 minutes, and that's what time we start on Thursday. So have a great Wednesday, and we will see you then. Take care, happy coding, everyone. Oh, and I almost forgot, run the credits. Credits. So, thank you to Twitchloff for the 11D1 biddies. And Crimson Green and Stoolpenner for helping out moderate the channel. We had a bunch of new followers, so thank you, everybody. Greatly appreciated. I have no clue. You hadn't said anything till now, but hi, welcome. And subscribers, Crimson Green and Wheelspin, thank you for those resubs. Wheelspin has been a sub previously, but it wasn't considered a resub because I think his sub lapsed. Anyway, take care everybody, have no clue. Crimson Green, Will Bennett, later.